5A, Potable Water of San Angelo. If you don't get sick from drinking the water, it's potable. Potable water shouldn't give you intestinal problems, no bacteria, viruses, protists. Potable water shouldn't cause illnesses long term, no heavy metals, carcinogens, etc. If you live in a city, a treatment plant makes potable water from raw water. The raw water was gathered from either surface water or aquifer water. Some cities are also gathering raw water from treated sewage water. San Angelo doesn't do that presently. So how does raw water become potable? First, it's treated with chemicals that make small, usually invisible solids clump together. Those clumped together solids get heavy and tend to sink to the bottom of settling tanks and get separated away from the raw water. Then the water is moved to a filtering process. The water is getting cleaner and cleaner with each process. Eventually, all that's left to do is the sanitizing. Some cities use chlorine, while others use ozone. There's also the UV light option. However it's done, any remaining germ must be dead before the water can be labeled potable. What about people who don't live in a city? Where do they get potable water? Usually they have a well sunk into a good aquifer, though some people must have their water trucked in. How did people in the past get potable water? Native Americans basically found spring water for their needs. However, their intestines and immune systems were conditioned to drink river water in some areas, only if there wasn't contamination. Early immigrant settlers dug bucket wells and drilled other wells. Then they either used hand pumps or windmills to get the potable aquifer water up. Early settlers also used water straight from the river, but they'd have to let it settle out and then boil it for about 20 minutes to make it somewhat potable. A lot of people died, though, of waterborne illnesses in those early years of settlement. Fort Concho, in its 22 years of existence, always struggled to have potable water. They used Soldier Spring and various wells. They also collected rainwater, and river water was drawn with a steam pump. What about city water infrastructure? To retain water for the city of San Angelo, Lone Wolf Dam was built in the late 1800s. Water treatment in the early days just involved filtering the water through sand. Eventually, water treatment advanced to today's methods. But guess what? The city also used rivers to discard sewage. Everyone knows that an outhouse doesn't require a sewer. Sewers became necessary when people wanted drains. The first sewers, built in the late 1800s, let domestic sewage go directly to the North Concho River at Magdalen Street. Later, sewage was processed at Bell Street. Sewage is treated by settling out solids and removing impurities from the wastewater. The treated water of sewage for many years was put in the main Concho River. However, eventually, water of sewage, or treated wastewater, was and still is used for farm irrigation. So how can a city use a river for potable water intake and use the same river to discard wastewater? You gather the potable water upstream and you discard wastewater downstream. But presently, the downstream wastewater disposal area is very close to the next community's potable gathering area. So technology has come up with ways to recycle wastewater back into potable water. Some people think this is just too icky to consider for their community, but some think it can be done successfully. There are many dilemmas that city leaders are confronted with regarding potable water. Number 1, is there enough potable water, surface water or aquifer water, now and for the future? Number 2, how can the city protect its aquifer from other landowner exploitation? Number 3, if the city's water comes from multiple sources, how do leaders agree upon which source to use at the present time? This video continues into another video called 5B Sources of Surface Water for the Concho Valley. It shows historical dams and water acquisitions.